Welcome to Get the Facts, the show that gives you information on what you need to know. Our special regard for our mothers is an adequate feeling for the care that they give. They are the first and the most enduring source of love and care in a person's life, teaching us values that we carry through life, being there for us even when we have become adults. On a day like today, set aside to honor them, these factors are foremost in our minds. But do we really think about what they go through for us, from the time of conception to the moment of giving birth, and even those early days following? Now, let me help you. Many mothers have to deal with things like postpartum depression and anxiety, all while taking care of us. And let's not forget the physical challenges. There's gestational diabetes, mastitis, which I'm learning is breast tissue infection, postpartum thyroid problems, pelvic floor disorder, which is urine leakage. And we love them for this, we love mothers for this, but we have to admit, you guys certainly go through so much when it comes to childbearing, including the one condition that brought us here today, diastasis recti. Now, don't know what that is? Well, Annakay Stultz, a certified physiotherapist who specializes in the pelvic issues of mothers, is here to explain. Mrs. Stultz, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's jump right into it. I have no clue. Diastasis recti. Can you help us understand what that is?
Okay. All right. So diastasis recti, or another name is diastasis recti abdominis, is that separation of our muscles. So we think about our abdominal muscles and we think about our six-pack. That's what is commonly known as.
Right.
So we have the six-pack, which is that rectus abdominis, hence the name. That's where it comes from, right? Okay. Right. So I like to have persons visualizing it. So think about a six-pack. 1, 2, 3, mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, and we have this little flat area that's right in the middle, or a linear alba, that's supposed to stretch during pregnancy.
That's a muscle?
It's just a ligament.
Okay.
It's right there.
Okay.
Right. So it stretches during pregnancy. Mm-hmm. And with that said, now, the further along you go in pregnancy, usually about week 35, it stretches to an extent. And it's natural because it's supposed to accommodate a growing abdomen. Mm-hmm. So with that said, that stretching eventually can cause further issues in life if it doesn't return to its normal position postpartum.
What would stop it from returning?
From returning, it just depends on different factors. For example, like the state of the mother before, right, and how much stretch there was. So, like for some persons, literally, they can be very small and all of a sudden you're pregnant with a very growing belly and it's just big.
Right.
Or even if you're not small, you just naturally start to get a lot of stretching. It means that the body is just probably stretched beyond a certain limit. And for some person, regulating all of that can take a little while to go back together. So that's where we come in. Mm-hmm.
How do you know that diastasis recti, that's happening to you?
That's happening. All right, so there are different things that we look at, and generally what persons would say is that, boy, I realize that my belly is big and I go into the gym, and there's nothing that's helping. I can't seem to lose this pooch and this little belly that's at the bottom there constantly. Or they will say, I've noticed that each time I do certain thing, there's a sort of coning or dome shape. That's a curve right in the belly area, and that's one of the first signs. I don't know what that means. So that's usually when they say that, I said, okay, it means that we're having the signs of diastasis recti.
Okay.
Yes, and as such, we will then encourage persons, or we'll try to test them, because if they come into me at that point, when I test or assess, then we can notice that, okay, there is indeed a separation.
All right, so far we've been speaking about mothers, pregnancy. Is it only a mother's pregnancy sort of thing?
No, it's not. People think it's only for pregnant women, but it's mostly pregnant and postpartum women that go through this condition. Right. But I must say, women who are obese, like probably can be excessively obese, can actually get the condition. Even men. So sometimes, again, the same concept, growing that belly, that bare belly that we know it as, it means that it's the same stretching that's taking place. Right. Or if you have engaged into excessive straining activities, for example, heavy lifting, you put your body and your abdominal muscles under strain, and if you overexert your core muscles, then you put yourself at risk of developing that condition too.
It's a matter of expansion and strain.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So I have to ask now, you mentioned earlier that it might also depend on the condition that, for example, a mother's body might have been in before the expansion. So are there certain things that make a mother, let's keep working with the mothers, more prone to diastasis recti?
Yes, there is. So it comes like, we'll call that lower risk factors in terms of what will cause them to have these conditions. So let's say multiple pregnancies, right? You have a higher chance of having diastasis recti the more pregnancies that you have, right? Because it means that your body is now going through different changes.
Right, expand.
Good. And if you think about it now, if we have quicker time doing pregnancy, so you had a baby today, and within less than 12 months, we have another baby. So imagine that's very quick. It means that your body didn't get the chance to heal.
In my head, it was you have a baby today, have another one tomorrow, but within 12 months.
No.
Right.
Right, within 12 months. Or then, the age plays a factor. Research studies persons over 35 are at risk of developing diastasis recti. I mentioned before, the smaller your body is to actually accommodate can actually put a strain. So usually those factors are things that we think about. So, and also pregnancy, the multiple, for example, having twins, triplets. So clearly that's a lot, right? So that means that the more we have inside, the greater the stretch.
Right. Okay, we're going to go to a break right now.
Okay.
We're discussing diastasis recti, and thank you for staying with us thus far. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All children deserve positive parenting. Why not pamper us? Be patient with us. Make time to teach us and, of course, play with us. Celebrate milestones with us and don't forget to be our #1 supporter. Do all these things and practice positive parenting today.
Welcome back. We're talking with Annakay Stultz, a physiotherapist who specializes in pelvic issues of mothers. She has been helping us understand a condition called diastasis recti. Lady Stultz, let's jump right back into it.
Okay.
So I noticed that when you were discussing the symptoms, you didn't really mention pain. But I am wondering, what impact can untreated diastasis recti have on a mother's daily life? Caring for a newborn.
Right.
Out and about.
Out and about. Okay, so yes, I didn't mention pain before because usually the first symptoms that mothers would notice would be those ones that I've mentioned before.
Right.
However, having untreated diastasis recti, it then leads to further conditions. We can discuss it because, all right, let's break it down a little bit.
Please.
We think about it as our abdominal muscles are a part of our core muscles. Our core muscles think about our abdominal muscles, our back muscles, our diaphragm, which is a big breathing muscle located under our ribs, and our pelvic floor muscles. So those 4 different compartments engages what we call our core muscles. So when you think about it now, if here is being affected, it means that 1 out of the 4 is not being affected, right? And if you have a system, and I like to use this analogy all the time, if you have 4 workers in an office and 1 is sick, it means that the other ones, have to pick up the slack.
Right.
And it is okay for a certain period of time. However, after a while, it becomes a lot of strain. It's the same concept with our core muscles. When 1 is off, it means that it can lead to other issues. So let's talk about those issues.
Right.
Those issues could be back pain, low back pain. It can be hip pain. It can be pelvic pain. It can be pelvic floor issues that are taking it a little bit further in the sense of incontinence, whether it's be urinary or fecal incontinence. It could be urinary.
Wait, hold on. You've got to break it up. Essentially, can't hold it in.
Okay, yes. Loss of control. Sorry. So incontinence just means loss of control. It means that we're no longer able to hold or urine, and it's a very common thing, and we think it is normal because it's common, where you sneeze as a mom and you say, oh, And you believe that, oh my gosh, my grandmother went through that, but it is not normal, right? It's common, but it's not normal, right? So we can also have prolapse being loss of body control, loss of control of the organs, or Jamaican term would be body come down, right? That's what my grandmother would say. So it means that eventually these things, having that loss of instability leads to that. And if you think about as a mommy, you're busy taking care of a child, you're lifting, you're handling and a growing child. It means that the pounds are increasing. If we're not managing certain conditions or certain abdominal pressures, like breathing properly while doing these activities, positioning ourselves properly, then it just means that our body starts to say, okay, all right, I was not ready for this. And it then means that, okay, we start to having all of these issues now.
And the other core muscles doing overtime
Everything
work.
doing overtime, everything can be a ripple effect.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. This doesn't self-correct.
Yes and no.
All right.
All right, so again, remember, the separation is a natural form. It's not to scare person. Naturally, your body is supposed to go through it because it needs to accommodate. It's just that usually by week 4 to 6, about 50% of that separation, it should go back down by 50% by right. It should close in a little bit more. And the further along it goes, they're supposed to be closing a little bit further. They just that some women just don't have that closing in happening as fast as it should.
So for those women who it's not happening as fast as it should, or maybe it doesn't happen any at all, what does physiotherapy have for them? What do they need to do?
Right. So physiotherapists are movement specialists. They're the movement experts. And again, it's not just making a program and said, okay, we're going to do these exercises, we're going to do that.
Right.
It's literally taking in the patient as a whole, because again, we have to look at how the mother is doing certain things. So it's recommended to engage a physiotherapist, and being specific, a physiotherapist who knows how to treat that condition. If we're going to take it a little bit further, a pelvic floor physiotherapist is really the best, like myself. Right. It's really the best because again, I'm not just looking into just your abdominal muscles. We're going to take into consideration every single thing and tying all of those things together. So it's really important to get that expertise involved. We're going to look at, as I said, mentioned before, your the way how you do things, the way how your body is positioning. Find other conditions, as in, we'll not find. No, we're not going looking for conditions, but we're going to look and see to see if anything else is unstable, because you may just become so concerned about this that I'm thinking that something else might be going off, and let me just check on that.
Right.
And so that's what we do, because we're now zoning into to just thinking, okay, we might be having some other issues based on the questions that we would have asked.
So in essence, it's not a one size fits all.
It's definitely not.
But the general idea is that core and pelvic floor strengthening needs to happen.
Needs to happen.
Needs to happen. All right. Is surgery ever recommended or needed?
All right, so surgery is going to be the last thing. And even doctors would tell you that, unless they're cosmetic surgeons. But for the most part, you would try conservative management first,
right,
which is engaging with an exercise program and sticking and being consistent with that program. Because again, it can take up to about 18 months for full healing for some persons, by the way. All right, so we take that into consideration. For some women, they realize that they're consistent. They work hard. They do everything that they're supposed to do, and then it does not seem to be helping. And at that point, if they want to go into surgery, then nothing is wrong, because they shouldn't be feeling bad that they choose to get something that makes them feel more comfortable. Because for a lot of them, the look starts to bother them. You know,
right.
For a lot of persons, they're more conscious about what it looks like too, and we have to understand, you know, if you're used to a certain flat abdomen, they may want that. Of course, for some persons, it's more than just the looks. It's really about how they're functioning, and as such, then, if everything else is not working, then we do encourage the surgery at that point. So it's really the last
option.
Last resort.
But there is that. And you did answer a question I have in terms of how long we would expect resolution. 18 months.
Can take up to 18 months.
But that's also dependent on the state of the mother's body.
Yes.
And whatnot.
And their consistency and all of those things.
Right.
Yes.
We're also underlining that it's not just mothers, even though we see it often there.
Right.
Lady Stultz, we're in the final few seconds of the interview, the toenail, so to speak. Is there anything you'd like to say to our audience directly?
Okay, so I would like to say that, you know what, I like to tell my mothers that your bodies have gone through so many changes. You literally grow a child or children for 40 weeks. It means that your body is going to go through different changes, as I said before. Be gracious with yourselves, be kind, be patient. Your body will return. Let's not give in to a snapback culture in terms of expecting the perfect body. And just, whenever there's a problem, we always seek pelvic floor physiotherapists. We're here to help you.
All right, and on that note, we have come to the end of the program. I do hope that we've all learned something from this important conversation. To all the wonderful mothers out there, we appreciate you. Happy Mother's Day. Until next time.
Happy Mother's Day.
Do take care.